Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Garba. Thanks for joining us. I have Chirag Gupta, founder of NōD Coworking. Did I pronounce that right? Or NōD?
We call it NōD with
NōD.
with the fancy O.
That's
With the fancy O.
I like it. All right. Chirag, give us a story about how you got started in the business,
Sure.
where it is now, where you're taking it, but then let's get into the inner workings of it, of what it is that you're doing that's different than in any of the other co-working spaces, okay?
Absolutely. So we started 4 years ago. I was in college at Northwestern and graduated 2012. Got exposed to co-working and startups through the university's incubator program back then. And then I joined 1871 in Chicago, moved back to Dallas, joined the Grove. So even just right out of school, I had been operating as a freelance consultant, entrepreneur at co-working spaces. So I always kind of knew, I was like, this is my jam. This is where I fit in terms of corporate culture. Like, I love the dress code at these places. I love the culture, love the types of collaboration going on, and just the constant learning from the people around me. So I always thought one day, when I'm semi-retired, I'll open my own co-working space. And got the opportunity to do that a little bit sooner than I expected. Moved back to Dallas and started my own meetup groups, started going to the open coffee clubs, got involved with Launch DFW. And I kind of was just doing that to build my own network here locally. Because even though I grew up here, Carrollton and Plano, when I came back, I was like new. Dallas was all new to me. And living in Lower Greenville now, I used to live in the Cedars. So I was just kind of like getting plugged into the downtown scene and trying to find, where are the startups? Where are my people? And so I remember attending Dallas New Tech. I think it was the first one ever in fall 2013, and met Michael Sidorzeski, Justin Nygren, Bradley Joyce, some of these guys that have really been championing the local startup community. And one day, one of the guys, Robert Green, who had been coming to my meetup, said, he's like, hey, how much does it cost to join your co-working space? And I was like, it's not a co-working space. I just have these meetups here at this office building from time to time. But he was really insistent on, he wanted to join. He wanted to set up shop there, and that's kind of how we got started. I said, yes, and I'll figure out the details. So that's how our first member joined. Robert came to me and said, these meetups are great. I want to, he's like, I don't know how much it is, but I want to join. And so I was like, I don't know how much it is either. We're just a casual group of entrepreneurs and freelancers who meet and work together, talk shop, exchange referrals. And so he proposed to me. He said, I'll bring you a check for $150 tomorrow for my first month. And I didn't have a name. We didn't have the name NōD. We didn't have any business set up or anything. So he brought me that check the next day, and I was like, okay, I think I'm in business. I'm in business now. Made my first sale.
Get it.
Let's do more of this. And I really thought it was something special about getting that check. It kind of validated what we were doing, and that there was value for people that were attending these meetups and getting to collaborate together and co-work. So yeah, I stayed up all that night, pulled an all-nighter, setting up setting up a business, LLC, bank account, set up Stripe so I could take payments online, and then I just went with that price. So back then in 2014 when we launched, the $150 check he wrote me, that started out our pricing at $150 a month. Anyone can come in, get access to the space, attend our meetups, use the whiteboards, use the ping pong table, and we had always kind of said we want it to be kind of an open, accessible community from the beginning.
Tell me about a day in the life of your world.
A day in the life of my world. So involves a lot of communicating with other CEOs, with other business owners, startup founders, however we want to self-identify these days. And so that's one thing I love about my life these days is I'm always getting to talk to very passionate people who are creating their own businesses, and those might be app developers who are launching apps into the Apple, iTunes store and getting millions of downloads, or it might be a medical device entrepreneur who's working on a patented technology and putting together teams of hardware and software engineers and trying to figure out problems at that scale. So otherwise, logistically, I've kind of become a fan of the concept of a lifestyle business. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my life these days, is looking for ways to continuously automate and optimize my own business so that my team is equipped with what they need to run the day-to-day operations, and kind of frees up my schedule to be a little more free to come and do something like this on a Monday afternoon. So.
Talk to me about forward thoughts. Next 3 to 5 years, do you have any thoughts or plans?
Sure. Next 3 to 5 years, I do plan to make a big switch. In 2020 is when I plan to transition into the music industry full time. So some of you, if you know me already, know that I play the drums. If you've been to the NōD, you've seen we've got a drum set there as well, and a lot of other musical instruments. So really excited about that. It's starting. I think I wrote it down on a piece of paper like 2 years ago. I was like, January 1st, 2020, going into music full time.
To do what?
So,
bands or promotion or both or what?
So I have a few kind of co-producer credits out there. One is with a rapper in LA called Ben MC. And then one is another one that I'm working on here locally in Deep Ellum. And I'm a co-producer, and I also play drums for that band. So those are the kind of things I'll be doing, and probably in 2020 also want to start teaching drums as well. But yeah, teaching, performing, writing, and recording.
Cool. Good name for the company?
Oh, name for that is Chirag Gupta. That's kind of my Twitter name and my online name. And I think if I ever write a book, that'll be my pen name. So yeah, at Chirag Gupta on Twitter and SoundCloud and pretty much everywhere else.
Yeah. Tell me about the success stories you've had at NōD.
Sure. And this is, honestly, that's kind of the most rewarding thing about running a co-working space, is that you're getting to see, or that I get to see, companies pretty much from day one grow from nothing. Business plan being written up on a whiteboard to, 1 year later, they've hired their first employee, they've got 10 customers. 2 years later, got 100 customers, and they need more space, and they're renting out larger portions of our co-working space, or we've even had some that have completely outgrown our co-working space, which is a phenomenal success to see. So let's see, a few that I'd like to mention. Tech Adventures, actually an education technology type of company, and they teach kids robotics and teach kids how to code. And I remember this one so much because Alan, who's the founder, he was one of our first members. So back when I was starting up the space, he was also starting up his business inside of the space. So we kind of both had, we were at that same phase of our businesses. And a day in the life back then was totally different. I was getting there at 6 a.m., opening up, making the coffee, giving tours to anybody who walked in, making sure everybody in the space had everything they needed to get their work done. And so anyway, Alan started this company called Tech Adventures, and he basically was running it solo at the beginning. He would host classes at NōD. He was studying, in the evenings and weekends, teaching himself Python, teaching himself how to code, teaching himself how to teach others how to code. And so I just saw him make tremendous progress day in and day out. And then about a year into it, he was able to raise money from a local accelerator, Tech Wildcatters, to continue to grow and expand that business. And so, that one's amazing to me because not only was he able to do well as a business that ended up making money and growing a team, creating jobs, but also it's something that impacts kids locally and helps build the next generation of the Dallas tech community. So that one's a really special one when I think back on success stories out of NōD.
Cool. You mentioned off camera that you had a company that came in with nothing, and then next thing you know, they've got millions of downloads off of a $1 app.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Bring that out.
So Amir Rajan, he's created several iOS apps now. He's a independent game developer. And the amazing thing about Amir is he's able to do, he incorporates such kind of simplicity and minimalism into his apps that he's able to keep them easy to maintain because he's a one-man team. And he's able to maintain an app that's got 4 million users on it. And his big claim to fame is called A Dark Room. That's in the iOS App Store. You can check it out. And he basically he kind of went 50-50 with the original creator of that game and said, hey, I want to bring this game to iOS. And so, yeah, we had him, give a talk to the entire community about how he hit 1 million downloads, and now I think it's across more than 4 million downloads. So it's amazing. I love that about him, that he's able to keep things in terms of how he's built the app. He's able to keep it where it takes the minimum amount of maintenance, but it creates hours and hours of entertainment for the people who are using the app, the players of the game. So, shout out to Amir. Really well done.
Good job, Amir. Maybe we'll see you soon.
Yeah. He's obviously, he's here. He's local. He's in McKinney, and he works out of NōD. So, yeah, I think it'd be a great candidate to have on the show.
And then you also help them with funding too. You introduce them to some people that are backing you.
Yes, and so to that end, I have about 2 years ago started a group that I call North Dallas Angels, which is basically just a loose, informal network of local angel investors who are also looking for opportunities to, invest in startups, mentor startups. Plus, some of them are serial entrepreneurs themselves. They've got new ideas where they want to launch new products and find developers, find engineers, find social media experts who can help them put it together. So I've kind of built that network up to 180 local angel investors. And so that's kind of another resource at NōD for any startups that are looking to raise outside capital. We have resources, workshops, programs, and then obviously direct introductions we can make if they want to pursue that route for their startup.
What'd you bring us?
Brought you guys a little swag from Dallas Startup Week.
Sweet.
Yeah, would love to plug that. And I've been an organizer for Dallas Startup Week on and off for the last 4 years now. And it's a great event. It's one that it's free for everybody. It draws about 10,000 people now all across the Metroplex. For 5 days, everybody comes in to hear talks from local entrepreneurs, whether they're tech, fashion, gaming, you name it. We have like 15 different verticals, IoT as well. So it's a really fun event. It's a fun one to be a part of. It's something I'm really proud of, having a hand in organizing that each year. And it's something that, it's only been going for 4 years. So it kind of shows me also a sign that the Dallas startup community is growing as we see attendance and sponsorship and partnership for that event has just gone up exponentially each year. So shout out to, Dallas Entrepreneur Center, Launch DFW, all these great Chase Bank, like a lot of great partners come together each year to make that happen. And it's amazing to see the growth that it's had.
Great. All right. How does everybody get a hold of you?
On Twitter at Chirag Gupta. That's the best place to reach me. I check Twitter pretty often, so that's a good one. And then where else? Saturdays at NōD. I'm always there from 2 to 4. It's kind of my open office hours. I call it Code Collective. So anyone who's got a new idea or just wants to talk shop, just wants to get to know each other, come by Saturdays from 2 to 4.
Cool. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All right. Thanks for watching CEO Money. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.